Hello, you're watching NewsX with me, Riyad Dwivedi. Now, let's begin with the top story of the hour from Bangladesh. Massive protests rocked Bangladesh yesterday and today following the death of Sharif Osman Hadi, a prominent youth leader and spokesperson for Inqilab Mancha, who succumbed to gunshot injuries in a Singapore hospital on December 18, 2025. Hadi, aged 32, was a polarizing figure known for his fierce anti-India and anti-Sheikh Hasina rhetoric, rising to prominence during the 2024 student-led July uprising that toppled the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government. He was shot in the head by mass assailants on December 12 while campaigning as an independent candidate in Dhaka's Bijoynagar area, sparking immediate outrage even before his death. The news of Hadi's passing spread rapidly on the evening on December 18th, prompting thousands of supporters to gather at Dhaka's iconic Shah Bagh intersection, chanting slogans demanding justice. The protest quickly escalated into violence overnight, with mobs vandalizing and setting fire to the offices of leading newspapers Pratham Alo and the Daily Star in Dhaka's Karwan Bazaar. Journalists were trapped inside the burning buildings, but authorities later rescued around 25 staff members as flames engulfed the structures, seen as pro-India or pro-Awami League by demonstrators. Violence intensified overnight as mobs vandalized and torched properties linked to the former Awami League, including an office in Rajshahi that was bulldozed and the historic Dhanmondi 32 residence of Bangladesh's founding father Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And anti-India sentiments surged prominently, with protesters raising slogans against India and gathering outside diplomatic missions, including stone pelting at the Assistant High Commission in Chattogram and raising slogans alleging Indian involvement in Hadi's assassination. The Indian Embassy in Dhaka has issued advisory to all Indian citizens residing in Bangladesh. Indians in Bangladesh have been asked to stay at homes and steer away from public transportation as anti-India sentiments rage among the protesters. Security forces, including army deployment in key areas, struggled to contain the chaos, with roads blocked, tear gas used and fears mounting over potential escalation ahead of February's national elections. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's interim leader Muhammad Yunus, in a televised address, urged calm, labeling Hadi a martyr and, quote, fearless fighter, unquote, while announcing support for his family and vowing a thorough investigation into the killing. A national holiday has also been announced on 20 December to mourn the death of Hadi. Now, joining me on the telecast is Major General Sudhakarji, senior geopolitical and strategic defense expert. Major General Sudhakarji, thank you so much for joining me on the telecast, and good morning to you. Obviously, now you've seen several developments that are taking place in Bangladesh, and this comes amid instability in the region since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, but still this continues to prevail even before February elections. What is your perspective on the ongoing developments that are taking place, especially the sentiment on the ground in Bangladesh in terms of the anti-India sentiment that we have seen? There have been threats also to the Indian High Commission. What is your perspective on this?
Good morning. Thank you for getting me for your show. In short, if I have to answer your question, the perspective is Yunus doesn't want the election to be conducted, whereas the Bangladesh army has laid down the perspective in a timetable that elections have to be conducted in the given time frame. So these are two perspectives which are clashing against each other. They are in conflict with each other. So who's Yunus? We all know there is a deep state involvement. America, no matter the security strategy 25 would have come out, wherein they say, America says that they would like to reduce their dominance in the world order. No superpower would ever like to lose its supremacy and authority at any point in time, till as long as possible. And America is no exception. So therefore, the kind of domination which they have had in East Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia and Middle East earlier in the past, because of pressures from domestic constituency, they had pulled back. The body bag could not be justified, and people in the homeland started asking as to why are you fighting others' war? So America had fallen back. So what is it that I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say that while the security strategy may have outlined Monroe Doctrine, that is, they will focus onto the Americas across Atlantic. Monroe was James Monroe. He was the president of USA in 1823. He had got a treaty signed with Europe, and in that treaty they had taken a commitment and assurance from European countries that they will not carry out any colonization of countries in the Americas or surrounding littoral islands. One. Number two, they will not carry out any kind of interference. Number three, they will restrict to their sphere of influence. Number four, if any attempt is made, it will be taken as a betrayal of the commitment, and therefore America will be left with no option but to take a very stringent measure against the Europe. So this is the concept they have given out. They have called Russia as a friend, and China, they do not wish to, they have indicated no conflict with China. They would like to negotiate because China has left America far behind. But what is it that in Bangladesh they are doing? Notwithstanding, people in America, a lot of podcasters, analysts have been saying America is pulling back, they are not interested. Tulsi Gabbard had made a statement that America will no longer be interested in regime change. I am afraid the bigger aim is to destabilize India. Whatever is happening in Bangladesh, it has to be joined, dots have to be joined with what is happening in Pakistan, what their DGISPR spoke on 5th of August 2025, and what Munir has been making statements at different places, different time. So therefore, India has to be prepared for the worst kind of eventuality. What is the worst that can happen? The Bangladesh will do well to conduct the elections first, because along with the elections, Yunus has actually outlined that a referendum is going to be held. Referendum based on July Charter. What is July Charter? July Charter is basically aiming to carry out reformation, institutional and constitutional reforms. No reform in a democracy can be carried out by an interim government. It is to be done by people elected by the representative elected by the people. So it should come after the government is formed, after the elections. Are the elections going to take place? I have my doubts. Under the present circumstances, with Awami League, people may not be knowing that the popularity of Awami League is very high. It is 56 to 57%. At places you will find it has gone up to 65 to 66, but take it in the lower figure. 56% dominance or influence of Awami League today in Bangladesh means that the whole country is going to be dominated by these people. So therefore, if you are banning them, so who else is left? The BNP, the Jamaati, and you have the national party, that is Citizens Party. So all these three, Citizens Party, they have had no experience. Jamaati is radicalized. Now BNP and Jamaati, they have been fighting against each other. So even if one of them comes to power, let's say BNP comes to power, will it be able to sustain? I doubt, because this conflict, this inertia and friction is going to mount by the day. And also be mindful of the fact there are arcs of influence which are in play in Bangladesh. One arc is of USA, second arc is of China, and third arc is the Islamic radical elements have come in a big way, supported by Muslim Brotherhood. And who is getting them here? Qatar is supporting them. Turkey has come in a big way into Bangladesh, and therefore not a opening being opened up. They are actually orchestrating such activities basically to radicalize the Indian society which are in the proximity and beyond. Therefore, India would do well to be prepared for the worst kind of things. But I as an Indian, I as a military man, I am not prepared to accept Pahalgam 2. We need to be proactive. We need to anticipate how things are going to unfold, and whether the elections are held or not held, we have to be prepared for all the red lines which they are actually manifesting on the ground. And essentially, my call out at the moment would be, I would urge the Indian citizens, and particularly the diplomatic mission, people to wind up and fall back to safe places. And if need be, they should be prepared to fall back to India and go back to Bangladesh only after situation stabilizes, because I foresee a huge intensification of volatility and hostility in Bangladesh in times ahead. Back to you, Ria.
All right, Major General Sudhakar ji, stay on with me. We have more developments that are coming in from Bangladesh. And now protesters also vandalized and set fire to the premises of the Bengali cultural organization Cheyanot and Dhaka following the death of Inqilab Mancha convener Sharif Osman. In a video circulating online, the mob can be seen attacking the institute, a key center for the promotion of arts and culture in the country. Now joining me on the telecast is my colleague Aditya. Aditya, take us through the details that are coming in terms of the vandalization of this cultural organization in Dhaka.
Yeah, I should see, this is a very, very, unmature attack by the mob, that has vandalized this cultural center in Dhaka, and definitely it's a matter of concerns. There have been concerns regarding the security situation in and around Bangladesh, for quite some time. And as you mentioned some time back, that the Indian embassy in Dhaka has also issued advisory for all the Indian citizens to avoid going to any any public places, and to avoid definitely to avoid at all times, to avoid any public gatherings, because there's a growing anti-India sentiment that is arising in and around Bangladesh. And we have seen this since this interim government led by Mohammad Yunus has come to form the government in Bangladesh. Bangladesh has been moving very, very closely to Pakistan and Pakistan spy agency ISI, and definitely it cannot be ruled out that behind these behind these mob attacks and this lawlessness, definitely Pakistan has an active role to play, because we saw how in the recent times the ISI chief and the Pak army General Munir also visited Bangladesh, to meet with the Bangladeshi leadership. So indeed, at this juncture, the security situation in Bangladesh is very, very concerning. And definitely, some days back, the Ministry of External Affairs has also summoned the Bangladeshi High Commissioner to India. So definitely, going forward, things are not looking good for Bangladesh. And definitely, already Bangladesh Bangladesh economy is at an all-time low, and definitely there could be consequences for Bangladesh in the times to come. Ria.
All right, Aditya, stay on with me. Now, Major General Sudhakar ji, you've already spoken about US, you've already spoken about Turkey and other countries' involvement as well. But now India is facing mounting pressure on multiple fronts. With Bangladesh and its relationship with Bangladesh as anti-India protests targeting diplomatic missions coincide with also repeated maritime violations in the Bay of Bengal, and which also deepens the security and diplomatic concerns for India as well. What do you think in terms of the strategic challenges, especially for India? What do you think are those challenges, and what exactly is the solution? Do you think that this situation in Bangladesh is being underplayed and it's not been taken to the level that it should be considered?
Yeah, excellent question. Must compliment you for putting your finger on the right issue at the right time. And I would say, to a large an extent, you see in your question, there are subparts. The strategic challenges. What are the strategic challenges? There are challenges, bigger challenges. There are, I'll put them into the spectrum of short-term, medium-term, long-term challenges. What are the short-term challenges? Short-term challenges are basically the predictable routine activities between two countries, smooth induction of supply and chain into the northeast, and routine functioning administration of our country based on rules-based order as per the democratic norms. If there is any impediment, any kind of infringement or breach by virtue of interference from the forces inimical to India's national security or national interest from Bangladesh, well, that should actually, trigger suitable response, not reaction, response against these kind of threats. Now, what are these threats? To me, it appears that a lot of things are taking place. Talk about the Rohingya brothers, talk about Jamaitis, talk Hizbut, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba, you have Hamas there, you have Hezbollah there, everyone seems to be floating around. So firstly, what are the threats? threat, first and foremost threat is the Siliguri corridor that comes to my mind. And since the shoulders, all the shoulders, that is the Nepal, the Jhampariris towards Bhutan and Lal Munira towards Bangladesh, they are, as on today, are dominated by forces inimical to India's interest. So what am I trying to indicate? I am trying to indicate that since we have lost out 78 long years, and also when we did the agreement with Bangladesh in 2015, swapping of land and settling the border with Bangladesh, we should have gone in for securing or buying off the shoulders. We did not do it. So now we should make sure that the piece of ground that is South Dinajpur and cut across, and that is the first chicken leg that should be taken care of if push comes to shove. We don't. India does not like any kind of conflict against any country. But if you finger us, if you push us to the brink, we'll be left with no option. But first thing I recommend is that this Bangladesh chicken snake must be cut off. Teen Biga, which we have given them on a platter. Teen Biga is a small corridor which is connecting. There are two villages where they have 15 to 25,000 people. Every day they use this corridor which is on the land of India. And if this corridor has been given, it is based on some understanding. So why don't you cut it off and also keep these two villages towards our side? Third thing is the Chittagong tract. This is another chicken snake. Fourth thing that I am saying is that, like the way we have given Teen Biga, let's say on humanitarian perspective, we continue to sustain our commitment. Then why isn't Bangladesh ready to accept our demand of Hilli? Hilli is a place close to Kolkata port, and Tura. Tura is in Meghalaya. Meghalaya produces abundance of the bamboo, tea leaves and lime, coal, etc. It travels 630 kilometers all around through the Siliguri corridor, gets stuck at Siliguri corridor because of traffic jam, gets delayed, and by the time it reaches Hilli, the perishable commodities, they perish. So there is a small corridor which is of 120 kilometers from Tura to Hilli. This proposal was given to Bangladesh in 2016 and it has not been approved. So such like issues must be kept in mind in order to develop our QPQ. What is QPQ? It is quid pro quo. Quid pro quo in such situation is very, very important. We need to identify the red lines at a lesser threshold, red lines at medium and red lines at high threshold. For different kinds of red lines, we have to have different kinds of matrices. Since it is already in the open domain, Ria, if you allow me one more minute, India did not have these military stations earlier, a year back. These new military stations have come up. One is the Lachit Borbukhan at Dhubri. One is the Kishanganj in Bihar. One is the Chopra that is in West Bengal. Now, why have the new military stations come up? Firstly, there is illegal infiltration taking place. Illegal migration of people from Bangladesh across the border into India. That has to be stopped. It has to be prevented. And second thing is, these three military stations, as per my understanding being a military man, will provide suitable launch pad 24/7 365 for multi-domain operation. For issues related to confidentiality and secrecy, I cannot go beyond this point. Multi-domain operation means whatever is happening in Bangladesh today, our armed forces are seized with the details. They know what is the next step. Therefore, our armed forces are prepared by irregular methods, by hybrid methods, by conventional methods, by kinetic methods to address them when push comes to shove, or they actually give us a trigger. That casus belli should be, we should wait for the casus belli to be given by Bangladesh, these kind of elements. And what is that casus belli? That is to be actually identified by very extensive deliberation and mature handling of the situation. Last but not the least, Leah, is that there is an angle of America trying to push back Chinese, because China has penetrated into Bangladesh in a big way in past 30 odd years with lots of money going in for the BRI projects. Call about the Padma Bridge, call about the railway lines, the national highways, or the ports which have come up, or the gas which is available between Tripura and Bangladesh. They are eyeing for this gas, 60 trillion cubic feet of gas natural gas which is going to be piped from there across the border of Bangladesh towards Myanmar, and through Rakhine province the pipe will be passing up to the Yunnan, Sichuan province. The pipelines have been laid, and I'm given to understand they're in a very advanced stage of harnessing the gas from there at a cheaper rate.
Okay.
So these are the kinds of challenges that we have. Bay of Bengal is turning out to be a very witnessing a lot of strategic rivalry. India also must look out for it. So what should India do? India should also take a similar kind of short-term, medium-term, long-term countermeasure. In short term, our surveillance capability, our int acquisition capability has to be heightened, and we need to go in for accurate intelligence to prepare ourselves to remain proactive, prevent occurrence of Pahalgam-like situation in India. That can only happen provided we know what the enemy is planning to do. That can only happen if our eyes and ears are open, be it for the short or medium or long term. And therefore, I would recommend that India needs to look at, the chicken snake, look at widening the shoulders, be it with the Bhutan or with Nepal or with Bangladesh, by diplomacy and dialogue, talk it out, like the way USA did with Mexico about 100, 200 years back. They bought a chunk of land for $10 million to settle the border. We need to widen the Siliguri corridor. We also need to make sure that the maritime connectivity is ensured between Kolkata and our northeastern states, that is Mizoram, through the Sitwe port.
All right, Major General Sudhakarji, thank you so much for joining us on the telecast of